Welcome to Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston, PhD. Glenn has held his doctorate in psychology for more than 30 years and is also a former multi-million-dollar consultant to the big food industry and uses his experience to help you defeat your cravings. This show will help you to focus on dramatically reducing cravings and leave the diet mentality behind, so you can more easily and effortlessly achieve your health, fitness, and body composition goals. Please remember, no doctor-patient relationship is created via this show, and you are responsible for confirming any changes to your diet, health, or psychological routines with an appropriately licensed professional before implementing them. Now, before we get started, if you haven't yet downloaded the free smartphone app to access dozens of these recordings all in one place, as well as to avail yourself of a confidential community for support, motivation, and assistance, please visit the podcast link on defeatyourcravings.com as soon as possible. And now, here's your host, Dr. Glenn Livingston.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And you?
I'm very good.
Good.
Well, so we were going to catch up. I think it's been a year or so since I talked to you.
It has. It's been a year since I did the immersion program, which was great. It was all going really well. I committed to a plan in my mind, and then I felt, might have been pig squeal, but I kind of agreed with him this time. Was I really going to whip out weighing scales every time I wanted to eat for the rest of my life? And I didn't think I was. And at that point, chaos happened. Once I decided that plan wasn't for me. And also I went vegan, which was great, but it let the pig say, trying to do too much at once, just go vegan. It's better for you, the animals need it, the planet needs it, go vegan. We'll worry about the sugar and the flour and the alcohol later. These are the pig squeals that really got me, and it all got a bit chaotic for a little while. Then I sort of got it back under control. And I now recognise it. I go, oh, that's pig squeal. You'd love me to eat that, wouldn't you, pig? And then I go ahead and eat it anyway.
You sort of got it under control.
Mm-hmm. I certainly eat a lot better than I used to eat now. I've certainly lost a little bit of weight. That's all great. And I think I've made progress insofar as I always recognise it as pig squeal. But very often I eat it anyway.
Okay. You threw the baby out with the bathwater. You got overwhelmed by the weighing and measuring, and you let your pig convince you that being vegan would be enough and you could get away with having the flour and sugar if you were vegan.
It wasn't so much that. It was a case of, let's get being vegan under our belt, and then you can go back to the flour and the sugar thing.
I see.
Which is no good. It has to be all of it. That's what I want to eat. I want to eat no flour, no sugar, no animal products, 3 meals a day. That's what I want to eat. That is what I believe will make me healthy.
Without weighing and measuring?
Yeah. Just eating a sensible plateful.
Say it again. What you want to do is?
What I want to do is not eat flour, not eat sugar, not eat animal products, eat 3 meals a day. But I don't want to weigh it. I just want to eat a plateful. 1 plate.
Okay. 1 plateful of vegan food 3 times a day with no flour or sugar. That's it.
Yeah.
Just writing these down because I haven't heard anybody say it like that before. 1 plateful of vegan food 3 times a day with nothing in between. Is that right?
Yes, but I do eat a lot of fruit in between. I love fruit. I couldn't do with any program that limits my fruit.
I wasn't telling you that you couldn't. I just was trying to echo what you were saying.
I did say that, but I probably meant occasionally I'd have fruit, nothing but fruit in between.
Okay. 1 plateful of vegan food 3 times a day with nothing but fruit in between. So take a breath from me for a second, Shellane. If you have 1 plateful of vegan food 3 times a day with nothing but fruit in between, how does that feel?
That would be great. I genuinely believe that my health would improve and I would feel like everything was under control.
So tell me more about that. Let's say you have 1 plateful of vegan food 3 times a day with nothing but fruit in between for a year. How would your health improve? How would everything else come together?
I would be slimmer, which would be great.
How much?
I think for a year I would probably lose 40 or 50 pounds.
Okay, so 40 pounds to be safe.
That would get to a weight that I've not been my entire adult life, really, so that would be super. And I think I wouldn't have the aches and pains I've sometimes got when I get up in the mornings that have started to subside since I've been vegan. But I think that would get even better. If I felt like eating, which is quite a basic thing, was under control, I would feel more confident about getting anything else in my life that needs to be in order. Yeah, I think that's what it would look like.
Well, let's talk a little more in detail about that. What else in your life would be in order specifically?
I've got a job that I like. It's a good job, but it's not really a career. I think I could do more if I felt more confident. Maybe change the kind of work I do, maybe just be better at it. If I just wasn't thinking about food all the time, I could work better, I could budget better, I could throw myself into the bike riding and mountain climbing adventures that I'd like to have. And I'd be a better example to my daughters.
How old are they now?
17 and 15 and 9.
17. Oh, so very impressionable still. Okay.
Me being crazy around food, that's an example.
Would you feel deprived on this plan at all? Does it feel substantial enough to you?
12 months ago, I would have been like, yes, I'd feel really, really deprived, but I don't believe that anymore. I've done it 80% for long enough that I know I wouldn't be deprived, that the food would be good and I'd be getting enough.
And are flour and sugar defined well enough that you feel like the pig can't sneak something by you?
The one place I have an issue there is that one of my daughters has joined me in being vegan, which is great. As you say, they are impressionable, except she loves to bake vegan cakes and things. I have a tiny taste when she does, just so I can give her my approval.
Okay, we'll make an exception that you can have one forkful.
Yes.
Okay, so exception, one forkful to taste daughter's cooking. Is that the kind of thing where your pig is now going to beg your daughter to bake something twice a day?
No, I don't think so. I think if I don't make that exception, and I will taste it because I want to give her my approval and that's what she's looking for, the pig would then go, look, may as well eat a whole slice now. But if the exception's in place, you go, no, I chose to eat that. That wasn't you, that was me.
Because you've drawn the second rung around the bullseye. You know where the bullseye starts and ends, but you also know where the second rung ends. And in this situation, it's okay as long as you hit inside the second rung, which is one forkful.
Mm-hmm.
When you say that you would have less aches and pains, where are your aches and pains now?
In my hips and my knees and my feet.
Can you remember the last time that you were pain-free?
10 years ago, before I had my last daughter.
So you could be pain-free again. Do you believe that in a year?
Oh, yes. I don't think it would take a full year.
Is there anything else that would be better in a year if you ate this way completely?
I would look better. I could wear sexy clothes. I think it would just be an overall feeling of more confidence. I wouldn't feel like I wanted to just be invisible.
If you were more outgoing, how would that manifest? Or how did it used to manifest when you were younger?
Maybe had more friends or see the friends I have more often. I've not fallen out with anybody, but I just maybe don't see them as often as I used to. I'd like to do more yoga, but sometimes I don't mind going to my one class where everybody's a bit on the chunky side. You know, maybe there's other classes out there I would enjoy too.
You could go to some of the classes with the skinny bitches, right?
Yeah. Yeah, just go, whatever. I go to over 40s yoga lattes or something. I don't want to do that. I want to go to skinny bitch yoga, yeah.
There you go. Is there anything else that would be better in a year? What kind of clothes would you be wearing? You said you'd be wearing sexier clothes. Is there something you have in mind in particular?
Yes, I'd like to wear dresses again. I always wear work trousers and the top constantly, even when I'm not at work. And it would be nice to wear dresses all the time.
Very good. Well, do you want to do this? Do you want to commit to this?
Absolutely.
Can you say it out loud? What are you committing to?
I'm committing to eating 3 vegan meals a day with only fruit in between, no sugar, no flour, except maybe when my daughter does vegan baking, I'll have one forkful and tell her it's delicious.
And that's it, right?
That's it, yeah?
And a vegan meal is one plateful.
Yes.
Is this the kind of thing where your pig is going to buy a plate the size of a pizza pie?
To be fair, it can be a big plateful because most of it is raw salad. So it could be quite a big plateful, to be fair.
Okay, so you don't have to worry about that.
No, I don't feel that's a major concern, just as long as I'm not going back and going back. I make myself one huge plateful and then eat it, and that's it. And then I don't eat again until the next meal, except maybe a bit of fruit. Usually that's only because the fruit is tempting, because now when I look at fruit, I'm just like, oh, yes. A bit like I used to be when I looked at chocolate.
Yeah, it's good when your survival drive corrects and really wants the fruit. Let me ask you an uncomfortable question. What happens in a year if you don't do this? If you don't get back on track and you keep eating the way you've been eating?
Well, I would be heavier and approaching 50, heavy and depressed. and I would have to give in and go to the doctor, who would give me some medication for these pains that I suffer, and I'd feel like I'd just given up. I'd feel after that I was too old to do anything about it. I'd tried too many times. I think I would just feel defeated, and I would just think, right, that's it. That's me growing old now. And who wants to do that?
You're like kind of committing to a slow death.
Yes, I think so. Gosh, that is depressing, isn't it?
It's amazing how many people do it, though.
Yes, I genuinely feel that's how I would be. If I got to 50 heavier, I would feel there was no chance of me ever pulling it round.
So what are all the reasons that your pig says that you can't, shouldn't, or won't do this?
It doesn't give up, this pig. It still says things like, but you've never done it before. And, oh, look, it's been a year and you haven't lost much weight, which actually isn't true. I have.
How much have you lost?
Maybe about 20, 25 pounds, which isn't tons, but it's weight loss.
That's very significant, yeah.
I feel like it's not coming back. You know, in the past when I've maybe lost weight, I'm kind of thinking it's hanging around the corner waiting to come back on when I'm not watching. That weight's not coming back. It's gone for good.
What else does your pig say?
It says, you're going to be a weirdo. And I'm like, well, that's okay. Being vegan's very fashionable. I'm not really a weirdo. And it says, oh, what about the special occasions where there's cake, wine? What about them? How can you possibly have a happy special occasion without eating food that's not good for you? Which is just ridiculous when I say it, but when the pig says it, somehow it's convincing. That's the main ones, really. The pig that says you will give in to social pressure, or you will just get bored of it at some point.
You'll get bored of it? I'm writing them all down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I want you to do is jump back up into your higher self, and I want you to find the lies in these squeals, okay?
Mm-hmm. So like the first one, the you've never done it before squeal. And obviously I can say, well, I can do it now. I can do it now just because I've never done it before. That's the difference. I can do it now.
You can. It's a very tempting squeal when the pig says, you never have, therefore you never will. But if you think about it, how could anybody have ever accomplished anything if that were true? That's like saying that nobody can learn anything. How could we build buildings, or how could we fly airplanes, or how could we learn how to swim, or how to talk, or how to walk, or use the potty instead of a diaper? You don't look at a baby and say, well, you've never got in the toilet before, so you're not going to be able to do it now.
No, you don't. This is very true. Yes.
And babies prefer to go in their diaper. They don't really want to go in the potty. They have to be taught. It takes a little bit of work.
Yep. And the social pressure one is, again, it's quite easy, really. It's like, well, people will get used to it. A year ago, it used to say to me, you can't do this because your boss is a very kind man and he brings you in cakes every day, which was true. My boss is a very kind man and he now brings me in fruit every day. So I can do it. Things can change.
People don't realize that if they give those who love them instructions, they imagine, or their pigs have them imagining, that those people will feel so horribly rejected. But a lot of those people love you, and they just want to love you in the way that you want to be loved. You just need to help them understand how to do it.
Exactly that. The pig had me convinced was a very big stumbling block. How would I deal with the boss? How would I deal with him when he brought in all the cakes and things? Oh, it would never work. And it totally works. He now always brings me fruit. Beautiful fruit.
I remember that conversation with your pig. I remember that.
Yeah. So yeah, the social pressure. People will get used to me being vegan. They will get used to me not wanting to eat the sugary, floury, to an extent salty things that I used to eat. People will get used to it. Most people don't care. They worry about what's on their own plate.
When your pig says that you're going to get bored of it, so you'll break, where's the lie in that?
Why would I get bored of it? I've never got bored of eating before. No, I think it will just reinforce itself more and more. It's not something that will get.
You got overwhelmed with the weighing and measuring, having to weigh and measure everything for so long, but you don't have that in your plan anymore.
No, I suppose I did get bored of that. But it just seemed crazy. I just felt like I was swapping one kind of food craziness for another kind of food craziness. But like you've talked about in your podcast, in that sort of transition between finishing, I don't want to do that plan anymore, and defining a new plan, sort of chaos absolutely reigned for a while.
Well, yeah, and you don't want to allow chaos to reign as you're changing your food plan. This is why I tell people to make a copy of the last plan that was working for them before they make any changes. And you wait until the new plan is fully written out, And if you look at what we did here in the session, you can kind of see the format for it. You need to really articulate what the plan is, whether there are any exceptions, what specifically those exceptions are, what are the limits of them. And then take a few breaths and see if it really feels okay. Are you going to have enough food? Is it sufficient? Is it going to be overwhelming to execute the plan? Is it going to require too much thinking and obsession? And once you know that that's the case, then you can look at your motivation and start to look at the squeals. And when you've really vetted the plan like that, then you put the new plan in place. And that way chaos doesn't reign in between. It's almost like if you were getting surgery and the doctor was proceeding along one lines and they cut you open and they're doing this operation and, they were sewing you back up. But in the middle, your pig decided, well, we really wanted a different operation. You can't just jump off the table. You can't just do that. So it's kind of like that. So when the pig says you'll get bored of it, where's the lie in that? You'll get bored of it and therefore you'll have to binge.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, it's so ridiculous. I can't even articulate the lie, really.
Can I try?
Yes, go for it.
Well, first of all, there's an infinite amount of food that you can have in the way that you plan this out. There's an infinite number of fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds. And these days, there are vegan substitutes for just about everything. I live in Portland, Oregon, and around every corner there's some vegan restaurant that has some gourmet vegan dish. There's no end to what you could have.
Don't think we're quite there in the UK yet, but I think we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, you can make things.
Yes. It's all good.
Go to YouTube and Google gourmet vegan recipe and you'll find things. Whatever you're craving. Vegan crab cakes. Look it up. I bet you find someone on YouTube who taught you how to make it. The other thing you're describing is that because binging is really a compulsive problem, it's a problem of feeling driven to do something that overrides your best judgment by this force inside you that can feel mysterious. In the beginning, it can require a compulsive solution. And that's why people's rules are a little more complicated in the beginning. We have to work with them to make them simpler. But as you recognize that you do have the power to control the compulsion, and also as you get some of the foods that intensify the power of the compulsion, it's like sugar, flour, and alcohol are going to intensify the compulsion. As you get them out of your system, then you don't necessarily need as compulsive a defense to control it. That's why you will see the very natural course that you're describing here, Shellane, where you started out with a very restrictive set of rules. You had plenty to eat, but there were a lot of things that felt a little crazy that you had to do. In the extreme, you'd see people saying, well, I have to count to 27 and jump up and down 5 times and go wash my hands first, right? But it's very natural that people will progress from having complex rules with conditionals and overly restrictive, overly active things that they have to do to just simplifying things and being able to put it in the background in the same way that you put all the rules of the road when you're driving in the background. You don't have to think about what to do at a red light or a 4-way stop or a yield sign. You just know. You just know who goes first and what happens, and you just drive and you think about other stuff. That's what happens with our food plan over time. So you're describing a very natural course. I'm sorry that you suffered with it during the chaotic time. I'm sorry I didn't prepare you for that well enough, but it's very, very natural what you're doing. The other thing about boredom is there's no reason you can't be bored and eat well. Who said food has to be a party all the time? Why can't food be boring sometimes? What happens when food is boring is your pleasure-seeking apparatus shifts elsewhere. You'll start to find that a sunrise is more pleasurable, or hugging your husband, or playing with your dogs, or talking to your kids, or reading a book, or listening to some music, or doing a painting, or taking a walk in town, or taking a deep breath outside, or taking a bath or a shower, or doing some knitting, or listening to music. Whatever your particular pleasure is, your body will shift towards it. And it's okay if food is boring, just the same as it's okay if there's a rainy day sometimes. Every day doesn't have to be perfect. Life is not a pain-free experience. The last thing about boredom I want to tell you is that on the other side of boredom, not the flip side, but when you go through it, on the other side of boredom is inspiration and purpose. And your pig squeals about it being intolerable to be bored. Food should never be boring. It should always be a party because it doesn't want you to sit through the boredom and figure out what your life's purpose really is and get inspired about how you can contribute to the world or make connections or take care of your family or write a book or whatever it is that your purpose is. Because when you find your purpose, all of the pig slop looks pathetic in comparison. Just absolutely pathetic. And so your pig doesn't want you to know. And that's why it says it's intolerable to be bored. Who cares? Poor pig.
Yep, that sounds really good. I absolutely believe it. It's better already. I can look back and go, look how much better it is. And I know just keep pushing on and it'll be better again.
When your pig says that you haven't lost that much weight, so why bother? Where's the lie in that?
Well, the lie in that is I have lost weight and I've kept it off. I've lost weight in the past and it's gone up and down and yo-yoed around, but it's come off steadily and it's stayed off. It's still coming off. I think maybe weighing every day, which I do, and I just record it just as a number. It doesn't affect me emotionally. I just record it. You never catch yourself in the act of losing weight, if you know what I mean. Some of my friends, when you weigh monthly, they go, oh, look, I've lost 6 pounds. I've never lost 6 pounds. I'd lose like a half a pound and I put it back on the next day and then I lose a pound. So you never catch yourself in the act. You've got to kind of really look at your record and go, oh, yeah, look, that's weight lost, yes.
It also makes it much more of a factual element. And there are all types of scales these days that will calculate the trends for you and programs online that will do it. You don't have to obsess about the particular number every day. I figured out when I got divorced that it was easier to clean up small messes than big messes. The mantra was, don't put it down, put it away. If I put things away, then things stay clean. And if who knew that if I don't pick up after myself when it happens, that it starts to accumulate. I didn't know that when I was 52 years old. For some
Please
reason.
teach that to my children.
Okay. Have them give me a call. No charge. Shellane, how confident are you that you're never going to binge again?
I'm 100%. I absolutely am, yes.
Okay. Even if your pig has other ideas?
The pig has other ideas, but no.
Very good. Do you have any questions or concerns?
No, I don't think so. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to carry on doing it, only doing it better than I've been doing it. Sometimes my pig goes, ooh, that'd be good to eat, and I'd say, pig squeal. And then I eat it anyway. That's a bit odd, isn't it?
That's a conscious pig party. That's a conscious pig party. And it's a reflection of the fact that you do have free will. I can't fix, nor would I want to fix, your ability to choose. Because if I took away your ability to choose to binge, then I would take away your ability to choose to be healthy, and I'd be taking away your free will. And free will is one of the most wonderful things that we're granted as human beings. It's one of the greatest gifts that we have, and we fought wars for our freedom. So I don't want to take away your free will. What tends to happen, it's a sign of progress, even though it's a little upsetting, when people go from this feeling like they have no idea where they just ate all the stuff that they ate, like this mysterious force that overtook them and they're never going to be able to recover, to thinking, you know what, I just feel like binging. I just want to. I understand this is the pig, and I've got really clarity. I know where the bullseye is. I know that I'm consciously and purposely shooting the arrow off the bullseye at this point, in fact, all the way off the target. But I'm a free human being and I want to do that. Well, when people come to that realization, then they start to think, I guess I could choose not to. And when you combine that with disempowering the pig's ability to make you feel horrendous when you make a mistake, because the pig wants you to get very involved with the guilt and say, you're pathetic, you might as well just give up and be a happy fat person. When you disempower that self-castigating voice and you refuse to yell at yourself just for having made a mistake, and you get up and aim at the archery target again, if you keep doing that, you see that you get better. You see that there's nothing you can't eat if you really want to. If you're willing to deal with the consequences, there's nothing you can't eat. You can make any changes to your food plan that you really want. And so people start to say to themselves, there's really no point in opening the pig's cage. I know that I can, but why would I want to? And if I really want to do this, I'll have it tomorrow. I'll change my food plan. I'll do it tomorrow.
It is exactly as you describe it, actually. Even I know it's progress because it's not out of control. I'm saying to myself, well, I'm choosing to eat it anyway. And then afterwards I go, I chose it. There you go. Look, I didn't lose any weight.
You don't have to do that anymore. You can if you want to. I can't stop you, but you really don't have to. You are free to never binge again. And if you just keep going, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, that all makes perfect sense.
Okay, dear. Well, thank you so much. I will look forward to talking to you next time.
Okay, thanks, Glenn. I'll speak to you soon.
Enjoy your diet and enjoy your skinny bitch yoga.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
And that brings us to the end of today's broadcast of Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston. Now, if you'd like to find out more about the products and services Dr. Glenn offers to help you dramatically reduce your cravings and stop overeating in 90 days or less, please visit defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. That's defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. Thanks.